Going after Iran is about what that ad says. Again, gotta remember something. Oil, Iran and oil, I don't know, just goes together. It's in their backyard. It's like if we wanted to corner the market on corn and corn prices, we could, because we grow so much of it. Go for a drive in the summer, and you won't see much. All you'll see is cornfields for most of the country. Well, in Iran, all you see is oil fields. And if it's not Iran, Kuwait, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, I can go on. They're all in Iran's backyard. And if they want to shut down the oil, they can. And there's nothing we can do to stop them. And we're going to find that out. You just attack the bee's nest. And now you're going to deal with the bees. And also, they didn't talk about Epstein files. That's the only reason we did this. And because Israel has blackmail on Trump, which is the Epstein files. So they have things that aren't in the Epstein files. And Netanyahu is using it. You can't trust Netanyahu. Come on. You're better off trusting a beehive. But... And Putin has stuff on Trump too. Trump's so easy to get. He thought everybody was his friend until he found out different. And now they own him. And he owns us because you voted for him. Hello. So, Americans don't go down as the smartest country in the world. Not anymore. At one time, I guess they were. I don't know what time that was. But, definitely not now. I would say China's probably the smartest country in the world. And, I like that they warned Israel to not use nukes. Well, Israel would cease being a state, cease being a country if they did. And Israel and China has the power to do that. And I believe it in without a second or any doubt that they would. So, China's not looking to start a war. If they were looking to start a war, they would have went to Taiwan. And they're not going into Taiwan. They're telling us, don't mess with Taiwan. They don't want us in Taiwan. And you can see why, but they're not going into Taiwan. They could take Taiwan like sneezing into a handkerchief. And in the time that it would do that, they would have Taiwan, so they're not doing that. I mean, there are reasons they don't do it. Taiwan has a corner on the chip market, and China would risk being able to get chips anymore if they went into Taiwan. So they have reasons, but if they wanted Taiwan, they would take it. They don't need it. They don't need Taiwan. So to them, it's a beehive, and they're not going to hit the beehive. They don't need to hit the beehive. The beehive is fine if you just leave it there. The bees will do what they do, and they won't attack anybody. And that's China's approach to Taiwan. Just leave it alone. You can let the bees know we know they're there. Let the bees know we can take them out anytime we want. But we don't. But we're not as smart as China. We go around attacking beehives. So, for some reason, Trump thought Venezuela was the same as Iran. And it wasn't. And it's not. Iraq was at war with Iran for, I don't know, 12 years, something like that. And nobody won. Iraq didn't win. Iran didn't win. They were still fighting until we took Saddam out. and that ended the war. So I guess Iran won. But of course, our ally is fighting our enemy, and we take out our ally because we're the smartest country in the world, right? So, it's just, and now we're gonna fight a war with Iran from miles and miles away, and Iraq is right next door to Iran, and Iraq couldn't beat Iran, and Iraq had all our weapons and our training to beat Iran, and they still couldn't beat Iran. And now we're gonna beat Iran with a few aircraft carriers. Yeah, I mean, the idiocy is astounding, and the arrogance is astounding. You deserve what you get. And soon it won't be long. I would predict that Iran will start attacks over here. You know, uh, but they really don't have to come here. They can get us in Germany. They can get us in Europe. They can get us within the oil countries. Iraq, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia, which they've already done. They've already attacked our air bases and bases that we have in those countries, and they can do more of that. And I don't think they're trying to attack the Iraqi people or the Saudis. I mean, they're not happy with Iraq and Saudi because they're backing us and not them. But they're really going after our bases, not the Saudi bases or the Iraqi bases. They're going after U.S. bases that are in those countries. So I don't see them going after them. But they're going after their oil structures, their pipelines, their oil production, because they know that hurts us. They know that hurts the world. And they're trying to cripple the world because we're trying to cripple them. So I don't think it's dumb on their part to do that. I think it's dumb on our part to have ever kicked the beehive. Uh, well, when you kick a beehive, I don't know anybody who kicked the beehive and didn't regret it. And some didn't live to regret it, and we might not. You know, so yeah, and all this talk about Iran's government being evil and all that stuff. Well, the Shah of Iran wasn't particularly evil, but he was robbing Iran of all their money. He was shipping the money to the United States, and all their oil money was being robbed from Iran. And that's why this evil, quote unquote, evil regime took out the Shah and took over. And the Shah was put there by us and backed by us. So I think the roles are reversed, where the Shah was evil and we were evil, but this new regime is technically now evil, you know. And I think all of it's unnecessary. If we just kept our business under our own business and not got involved in their business by implanting the Shah, I don't think Iran would ever have gone to the extremists that they have gone. I think we forced them into that by doing what we did, and you we're not good at nation building. We're not good at making nations that we go into better. We make them worse. Look at El Salvador. El Salvador is a horrible, horrible country, but they do what we want, so we don't bother them. But Nicaragua was a great country. It was a great country for its people. It had health care, it had education, it had jobs. It allowed the opposition to have a newspaper and other means of speaking and press. They let the opposition speak. In Nicaragua, in El Salvador, if you're against the government, you don't speak. And if you do, you don't live. But in Nicaragua, you could do that. And what did we do? We supported the Contras that were there to take over the Nicaraguan government. So anytime you're good for your government, you're evil to us. You know, El Salvador bought weapons from us. Nicaragua didn't. And that's the really crux of the whole system, is that we sell weapons to our friends, and we want more friends so we can sell more weapons. You know, which is why Israel's our friend, because we sell them a lot of weapons. And weapons support the little guy in Wisconsin that makes a fuse that goes into a Stinger missile. You know, and there's a lot of little guys in different states that make something that goes into a Stinger missile or an aircraft carrier or a plane. Our military machine is vast, and if we took it out, we would bankrupt the country. And that's why we keep it going, and that's why it feeds itself. It has to feed itself. That's why they build tanks that we'll never use, because the people that build them need a job, you know. And they make a lot of money if you're an expert on a tank to build a tank, you make a lot of money, you know. Now, if you build a road or you build a bridge, you don't make that much money. So, and that's why we don't build roads. That's why we don't build bridges. There's no money in it, you know. I mean, yeah, like a George Washington Bridge where they can put a toll, or somewhere they can put it. But if you have a little bridge that goes over a little river where there's no toll, there's no money in that. It costs a lot of money. There's no money in it. So that's why it doesn't happen. That's why they were so against Biden's bill for the infrastructure bill that he passed. And now Trump is blocked. So, yeah, it's all political footballs. You know, the tunnel underneath the Hudson is for the Amtrak. It's all a political football. It's like, do what I want or you don't get my money, and that's all that's about. But yeah, everything's a scam. This was a scam. Just to shut everybody up. Nobody's talking about Epstein, are they? You know, and that's the whole purpose of this of the war. Doing what Israel wants. We're taking out targets Israel couldn't take out. So, see, the problem is if Israel took out these targets, the rest of those countries around Iran would be up in arms. They'd be going after Israel. But with us doing it, it doesn't happen. So we have the support of Saudi Arabia, but Israel, not really. So, yeah. But, and Israel doesn't want to be seen as the bad guy alone. They are the bad guy, but we're the bad guy with them. You know, it's like the little guy and the bully behind them, the bodyguard behind them. You know, they ever see that movie, The Bodyguard, and the little guy's a wise guy yelling, cursing at the enemy, but the bodyguard standing behind him, thinking he can get away with it. And that's what Israel does. Israel's the little guy, and we're the bodyguard. So it's all a scam. It's all a scam on your intelligence. You think you're intelligent, but you're really not. You know, and that's the problem.